Hey there, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome. Thanks for joining me in today's video. We're going to talk about something that I guess I'm going to affectionately call a train pattern. And I did a previous video where I talked about going between different areas of the minor pentatonic scale, the 5 boxes, kind of by taking that original box 1 shape and sort of turning it into a pattern that repeats at octaves. So we're going to do, I had several requests to do the same thing with the major pentatonic scale. And of course this would work for the major blues scale as well. I did not include the blue notes in this one, but it's the same thing. So if you know the major pentatonic scale in what I'm going to call box 2, this is probably the most basic way to play it, starting with the root. I'm going to do it in the key of A. I know my jam track was in the key of G on the way in, but I'm going to do it in A just to be consistent with what I did in the last video. And that is the A major pentatonic scale. A, B, C sharp, E, F sharp, A. B, C sharp, E, F sharp, A. Root, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th. Root, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th. Root, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th. Root. Okay? And that is the scale. That is a simple way to play the scale. Now I want you to pay attention to the roots, that's why they're red, okay? Now, you may remember that for the minor pentatonic, we had the box 1 pattern, and then I changed it. I moved some notes over, so I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna move those notes. Hopefully you saw that from the 4th and the 5th string, and I'm just gonna move them to their corresponding positions on the 5th and 6th string, and I now end up with a little pattern. Again, same notes, A, B, C sharp, E, F sharp. Sorry, F sharp. And you'll notice that it has 3 notes on 1 string, on the 6th string, and then 2 notes on the next string. And so I call it the 3+2 pattern. You may have heard me talk about that before. But this is kind of showing you where it comes from. I'm now gonna move, I'm gonna say the left hand notes off the 2nd and 3rd string to where they would go on the 3rd and 4th string. And you'll see that the pattern now repeats. So 3 plus 2, start again. 3 plus 2, and of course, if I move that last root over, I have to add a fret because of the B string. Root, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th. 3 plus 2. Okay, so that gives me a different, rather unique way to play my A major pentatonic scale, right? It's different, but what you're gonna see, as was the case before, the boxes are in there, right? So normally, if I started my root here at the 6th string, I would have box 2 if I played it all in one place, not horizontally, but vertically. Right? So every time I slide, so think of this as box 2, right? Every time I slide, I'm now in box 3. Even though I'm not going to use it all, it's there. If I want to jump out at this point, I can get off the train, as I like to talk about my subway experiences as a teenager in Framingham, Massachusetts. If I slide up again, I'm now in box 4. If I slide up again, I'm now in box 5. Now, interestingly, box 5 is where the 5th string root for a major pentatonic or major chord, that's where it sits. So if you don't know box 5, that's box 5 right there in front of you. So notice that there's my root there at the 12th fret of the 5th string. Right, if I was in like the key of D, this would be really handy. Because I may not want to play it up here. But in my case, I'm going to play A. And there's a couple of lower notes as well, but mostly I'm going to center it around that root. Okay, so again, I got off of, I'll say, my previous train at the end. Right at the end of the train, it put me right here in box 5. I think that's an incredibly important thing to notice. Okay, this is something I talked about again in the minor version of this. You gotta notice where these sort of getting off points are. It's great to have this pattern. It's great to have the boxes. If you combine the two together, you can get around anywhere. And it's so, so, so cool. And this pattern is so useful if you just find yourself on an A, but you don't know what box it is, and you just need the A major pentatonic scale. You can start with this pattern until you learn where you are. Okay, so there we go. Now I can do the same thing. I can move those 2 notes off the 3rd and the 4th string, slide them over. There's my 3+2 pattern. I can move those notes off the 1st and 2nd string over. There's my 3+2 pattern. I can add a little bit more. Right, I know the fretboard had to shift there to include all the notes, but hopefully you can see, sorry. And all of the different patterns are there. So again, you know, I can get on and off. Let's say I was in the key of D, right, for example. Well, from right here, right, I'm in box 5 when I start. That's the same. So that means as soon as I slide up and I'm in box 1, I can't tell you how often I use that. Now I'm in box 2 because I slid up again. Once I slide up again, I'm in box 3. Right? And of course, once I get to box 2, if I want to come down, I can start the process over again. And I can get in and out of that sound anytime I want. All I have to do is basically sort of keep a running count in my head of where I am right now. I know that when I start with the root on the 6th string, right? If I go back to, I'll say this, you know, layout here where I'm starting with a 6th string root. Box 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I'm good, which means I could even go up to 1 if I wanted to make a jump. I know it's not on the page there, but it might be worth remembering. If, on the other hand, I want to take advantage of, I'll say, a 5th string root, I'm going to start on box 5. Right, and that means I'm in 1 as soon as I shift, 2, 3. Or if I started open, that would be box 5, 1, 2. And you can kind of, you know, go through the patterns in however you want, because you can move back and forth. Every time you hit a root, right, you can switch back and forth. That root is really vital. If you don't know where your roots are, this would be very challenging. But if you do know where your roots are, it can be a really cool way to open up the fretboard. When I first saw this pattern, I only knew the 5 boxes, and I just found this really liberating to just sort of play through it and get to a spot and sort of go, okay, if I want to switch back to my boxes now, where am I? And once you do that a few times as you're jamming, just pick jam tracks or something, right? And just kind of, as you get to a spot, go, okay, where is this in my pentatonic boxes? And you'll find ideas. You'll be like, oh, this fingering works really good to then just, go into a box. It's going to be different for everybody, obviously. What feels good to my fingers may not feel natural and easy for your fingers. That's why you got to do a little of experimentation with this. It's the same as I'll say the minor version of this video. But if you take a little time with this and you experiment, it works really well over a slow blues, because remember, with a slow blues, we can change the major pentatonic scale for all 3 chords of the blues. Now, this is going to get a little bit more advanced, right? What I commonly call level 1 soloing is I just play the minor blues scale. So if I've got a slow blues in G, I'm going to play the minor blues scale over all 3 chords. And that will work. Now, what I commonly call level 2 soloing is when I start to add in some of the G major pentatonic or G major blues sound over that G major chord. What I call level 3, the more sophisticated, they get more sophisticated as you go. That level 3 soloing, you basically start treating each chord as its own one. I call it every chord as one. So when I'm playing over the G chord, I play the G major pentatonic scale. When I get to the C7 chord, the 4 chord, I'm going to switch to the C major. Now I can add in C minor as well, but trust me on this one, you want to lean more heavily on the major, particularly over the 4 chord. When I get to the 5 chord, the D, I can do the same thing. I can play the D major blues. And I can even bring in some D minor blues, right? As long as I have the major blues in there to establish the tonality, the minor blues will also work. And so I can switch for every single one of those. Now I don't have to, but I can, right? So you might find, hey, I really like the sound of the G major blues over the G chord, and I really like the sound of the C major blues over the 4 chord, but I really don't like the sound of the D major blues over the 5 chord. Okay, fine. Go back to G minor. You can always go back to the basic G minor blues at any point, and it will always sound good. And that's not uncommon, right? I find in my own playing, I like to follow the chords over the 1 and the 4. When the 5 chord comes around, I tend to like to bluesify it a little bit more, as I like to call it, and just do the G minor blues scale. I think it sounds really, really good. It's not to say I won't follow the chord on the 5 chord, but I don't always, and you don't have to either. But the main point is, using patterns like this, you can follow through all of this. Right? And notice that because I have something like the 1 chord, right, would land, I'd probably start it on the 6th string root. So I'd have that version. But my 4 chord starts with a 5th string root. And my 5 chord, or if my 1 chord started with a 5th string root, my 4 chord would start with a 6th string root. And my 5 chord would probably also. And you can add in, you don't have to add in the sweep arpeggios. That's probably not the bluesy thing to do right there. It's one of those things that just falls comfortably under my fingers at that point. I happen to know that arpeggio pattern's right there. The more you play around with this, the more you'll start to link these little 3+2 patterns with those boxes or those arpeggios or whatever that you already know. That's where the power is with this. That's where it's just this kind of cool glue that just brings everything together. So I don't know the easiest way to tell you to practice it other than put on a jam track and try it. And periodically try to get out and figure out where you are. And the more you see those connections between these patterns and your traditional 5 boxes, the more useful they'll be to you. Okay? So, hope this makes some sense. Hope you try it out. It's a really, really cool way to look at your fretboard. As always, I'm Griff Hamlin from Blues Guitar Unleashed. I'll leave some links near this video if you want to check out any of my premium courses, or you can get my guidebook for free or anything like that. If you're a blues player, lots of good stuff in there. It's totally free. You can download it. So again, I'll leave that near this video, and hope you dig it. Try it out for yourself. Let me know how it goes in the comments, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.